Hi everyone, Steve Crosby here. Welcome to this fifth installment in our Monday Morning Musings of talking about father-son ministry. One of the negative and common metaphors that gets pushed too far in this realm of discussion is a topic of spiritual DNA, and it goes like this. Here's what they say. You know, you have many teachers, but only one father, and I'm that father to you. And you know, I don't want to mix my DNA with spiritual DNA with somebody else. You know, you should only have one father, and you should be getting your download from that spiritual father. Because, you know, if you listen to other people and you get other input, you know, you're betraying your commitment of loyalty to me as a spiritual father and my spiritual DNA, my legacy, my spiritual legacy. I'm building a legacy, and my legacy, and you're part of my legacy. And you can't belong to two men because you can only have one father. That's an example of pushing a limited metaphor too far. And even in the natural, what happens, saints, folks, naturally speaking, if you don't have diversity in your DNA? It's called inbreeding, and you end up with natural deformities. It's the same thing spiritually. When the topic of father-son ministry becomes a control motif, where you are discouraged or even forbidden from receiving from other people because you only receive within the family. And the father has the sperma, the seed for the family. And the DNA download comes from the father. You're in a cult. And even biblically, it doesn't stand up. Because the guy who wrote, you have many teachers, but only one father, was Paul. And all kinds of people were influencing the churches. And that's Paul's problems wouldn't exist if he was the only one who had access to the church and he was the only one that you were allowed to listen to. Again, when Paul speaks of his fathering relationship to them, he's speaking of his affection, not his spiritual DNA. Galatians wouldn't have been written. Corinthians wouldn't have been written. Romans wouldn't have been written if it was against the rules for, your spiritual children to receive any input from anybody other than oneself. Paul never claimed singular spiritual authority. He understood the diversity of input in the body of Christ. Now, does that mean everybody that you might listen to is going to have great things to say? No, it doesn't mean that. Again, the whole book of Galatians is based on an argument, an in-house argument in the family of God about who's teaching what and who that you're listening to. But it doesn't mean you forbid people. It is appropriate. It's right to have deep bonds of affection for those who have been proven and have invested their life in your welfare. Those bonds that are birth of the Spirit, birth of experience with one another, birth in time with one another, birth out of going through crises with one another, transcends space and time. And it's got nothing to do with joining an organization. It's got nothing to do with belonging to a network. It's got nothing to do with signing up for a newsletter. It's just the acknowledgement of a state of spiritual reality in love. Affection, familial affection exists where those types of dynamics exist between two human beings. Any family, naturally speaking, here's a limited metaphor, where the father roamed around all the time and said, I'm the father, I'm the father, I'm the father, I'm the father, you must recognize me as the father, and that would be psycho. Because in a functional family, be it spiritual mother, a natural mother, or father, the expression of love, the practical expression of love, revealed as in the self-giving of another for another's welfare, defines, hey, that's mom, that's dad. It's about relationship that has been proven, normally through the fires of adversity. So, bonds of affection, described metaphorically, and family language are appropriate. But if family language is being used as a control mechanism to control what you take in or don't take in, and it's a protective mechanism to guarantee the purity of some person's alleged legacy, that's a cult, and you need to get out. I'll see you next time.